Okay. For me, what I do and why I'm here, this becomes telepathic. This means that the communication that begins during one of these journeys begins to be connected atma to atma through a omnipresent living energy that's out through space, through the planet, in the atmosphere, that people on Earth basically are terrified to remember. They don't even know they're terrified. They just know that when they try to find it, something always diverts them another direction. Or they go watch a movie, or they go somewhere else, or they do a meditation and something, they get peaceful and the mind and emotions are shut off and they go to a certain place like Nirvikalpa Samadhi or serenity of being. And then they just can't get further. Because once the mind and emotions are in serenity of being, the person, the being, has to become very active in putting out into that energy where they want to go and why they want to do it. Or it'll just support you, it won't do anything. It's a co-creator with us. We're supposed to be co-creators with it. But that means we have to be aware that we are. So it's really a question of recovering what we were made to forget before we were born here, with little or no memory.
Mm-hmm.
And then people grow up and try to get these answers, and they go through different groups and they try to get this. And it's all helpful. But for some reason, from what I've discovered about people I am now meeting, or being directed to me more or less, they always run into some kind of a block when they're trying to really get all the way there. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Owen? Yes? I'm just asking you, Owen. That's all, just two of us talking. Yeah, it's hard to even look at this stuff because I don't really know what you've experienced personally.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah. No,
I
and
always
even yeah, I do too.
If any of you could understand what I had to go through, even Anna, who I know really well, does not know, what I had to go through to be here right now, you wouldn't believe it, and none of you would have survived it.
Mm.
I had help from off-world. When I first came to this planet, I came here as an ambassador. And I came here at the time, about 50, in order to meet with the President of the US and other people to help them make a decision to accept off-world help to fix this broken place before they self-annihilate. I was never made it that far. Other beings have come here in part of a huge organization of world systems to try to do the same thing, and all the countries on Earth turned them down from fear, subconscious fear. Generals who came out of World War II and Eisenhower met with two groups, one benevolent, one totalitarian, that by treaty, off-world regarding Earth, they could come here, scared him terribly. Even the ones that had a very high vibration were very kind, it still scared him. They just got a hydrogen bomb. They're just going into a Cold War with the former Soviet Union. And testing these explosive, only destructive devices have no practical use at all. The information about nuclear weapons was not developed here. It was imported through the Nazi scientists. Hitler was designed to wipe out 3/4 of the population to make it easy for this planet to be controlled. 500 million is much easier to control. That failed, of course. So World War II had its influences, and why it took place was not about what was on this earth. This is very highly classified to this day. Anything dealing with extraterrestrial is more highly classified than the hydrogen bomb, by far. They did this, 35 countries, to bring you all up to speed. They did this because they wanted people to feel confident in their militaries. The war was over. They wanted people to be baby boomers and rebuild a damaged, terribly damaged world. So they classified it. It's been 70 years. Just this last year, the U.S. Congress and Senate are beginning to conduct hearings that are part of disclosure. They are actually talking about Roswell, which was a down craft. They admitted that now. And they're interviewing people that were highly classified, airline pilots, They're passing laws now so that airplane pilots who would get fired if they brought out what they were seeing around the world can come forward without losing their jobs. This is a big change in the world. It isn't true disclosure, but it's a good beginning. And the reason they're doing it is because they have been informed. Now, if they don't do it and let all the people of Earth know what they've known for these many years, even before World War II, about people coming here from other planets, and they don't do it in a certain time period, it will be done for them without their assistance. That would be a bugger for a lot of leaders to be embarrassed to their public for how they've lied all these years. So it's better and more constructive if those leaders begin to, even out of fear, fearfully, begin to disclose this stuff. You can watch Senate congressional hearings interviewing these whistleblowers. Some of you know about this already. This is the first in all the history since World War II. The beings I work with, I do not work with psychically. I do not channel other beings. That is something they don't do. I work telepathically with them, which is a natural, normal form of pure communication between that's running bodies like we are right now. And so it works through the pure, omnipresent first sound behind creation, which is an omnipresent conscious energy field. It always has been. And we as individual atmas or beings are comprised of this same energy. It is not nuclear. It's not atomic. There's no DNA. There's no molecules, no atoms, no quarks, no quasars, no black holes, no gravity. We are beings that actually are part of the energy that supports all of that. When you look at the Earth, it is round. The Earth behind Angela has an electromagnetic field on it. You can Google it and see it. Comes out the South Pole, goes in the North Pole, or the other way. I'm not sure which anymore. But you can see how it looks. That is made of this first half of the word human, hue. It's just a way a sound can be made. It's not native to this planet. It is not owned by any organization on this world. It was not created here. It was imported here. It's been in existence since before the lower worlds of time and space were even built. And what you guys need to know is every one of you were there as Atmas. That does not come into existence in time and space in the lower worlds. That was an existence, co-creatively in a central location to build the lower worlds of time and space. We're responsible ultimately for the mess this world is and how the lower worlds are run out of a very bad habit several 100 billion years old. They're run with the old failed experiment of good and evil. And we thought it was a great idea, but when we actually implemented it, it did not do what it was meant to do, which is to encourage people to go down in the lower worlds, run bodies, and come back to the source and upload what they've learned. We're meant to go back to the source, to co-create new ways of running things that have ever been done before. And you all know it. I can see it in your eyes. It's surfacing. It's coming to the surface. This is telepathic. It's not giving you information. This is networking, bringing to the surface what you couldn't do by yourself. And I'm not doing this by myself. When I take people on secondary implant removal journeys, I don't do the implant removals. There are people in Thailand where I have a great following trying to copy this to make money, claiming they can take people out and remove implants. Nobody on Earth can do that. Everybody on Earth has a subconscious mind that misdirects them. They would have to be the atmosphere of Earth, the H2O, the molecules in the atmosphere that surround the planet, which is very thin, store everything every being's done to every other being, from Rome to Aztecs and cutting out hearts, and it's everything that's stored and has been done for 65 million years since the big dinosaurs were made extinct is still in the atmosphere surrounding this planet. What people don't know is it cannot be brought outside of Earth and recorded in that black area behind Angela. It doesn't, you can't put that in the hue. It's not nuclear, it's not atomic. There's no way to store it there. People can take it with them. They're in a spacesuit in a space shuttle and they get out and do a spacewalk. It's around the field that surrounds their body, but it's not out there. This means that Earth, okay, I'll put it another way. You're going to find this out. Planets out in the universe in the Milky Way that are normal, the waters on their oceans and waterfalls glow about a foot above the H2O because it's charged with this first sound. Normal planets have a charge that we are deprived of having, so people get really bent out of shape. There's a little bit more of a charge of the hue around the equator of this planet. So people get really kind of elevated in Hawaii. But it's not glowing. It's depleted. The beings who are working unconsciously here are blocking that. On other worlds, they don't allow more than 500 million people on any planetary system. Earth has 8 billion. Big problem. So how do you solve that? Well, people on Earth collectively aren't awake enough to solve anything before they would annihilate themselves. This is known with absolute certainty. We're going to need help from the greater God, which is mostly beyond Earth, out in the universe and up through the dimensions, or we ain't going to make it. And it wouldn't be the first time all life's been wiped out on this planet. There's a history here that you've all been made to forget completely. It goes back 65 million years. It goes back to Lemuria and Atlantis, which was a colony continent of Lemuria 100,000 years ago. The last polar flip of this planet took place 100,000 years ago, and it was cyclic like clockwork. Violent. Continents sink, oceans rise, everybody's dead. The planet has to be reseeded from outside. Mammalian, human, plant life, everything, most of it. Maybe a couple thousand people might live at the top of mountains, but they're reverted back to savagery, primitive states. And you can't even work on the planet or inhabit it for a while after such an event takes place. What people call the Golden Age to Iron Age for this planet has come to a permanent end just a few years ago. The poles were beginning to tip, and it was even announced on the internet and in the world that they were tipping over a certain amount of degrees, and then suddenly out of nowhere, they went back to where they were in the 1500s. The pole just went. No more Golden Age to Iron Age, no more polar flips. Earth has been retarded in this way quite differently from other world systems. So people haven't been able to develop civilizations here for more than 100,000 years. And then they're wiped out. If you have a ship, you can get off. If you don't, too bad. There was a treaty that was created out in the Galactic Alliance at the end of a war that took place 500,000 years ago. There are no wars out there now. No one's fighting anybody. The worst and most unpredictable people in the universe right now are on Earth. Everybody knows it.
Really?
Yes. Our solar system is quarantined. This means that an organization of world systems have placed certain vehicles here, stationed them here to do two things. One, to prevent us from destroying ourselves, because we most certainly would. The leaders would, because they're making decisions based on fear every day, subconscious fear. They don't know they have. And whenever people make a decision based on anything subconscious, I'm turning off my phone, folks, forgot to do it, there we go. It's always incorrect, no matter what it is, because fear is an artificial emotion. Somebody dropped off, who was it?
No one has got.
Oh, there's Marshall. Okay, Marshall's back. Good.
Oh.
Oh, where were we? Let's see how sharp you go. Angela?
Quick question.
No.
What happened to the rogue worlds? They're called the Trilote.
Are you talking about the Trilotu?
Yeah, them. What happened to them?
Those buggers. Well, the reason that alien races out there got twisted, which started a war 500,000 years ago, the reptilians at that time, and greys, there are a number of different sects of them, were vegetarian. They weren't carnivores. At the time, a race from a parallel dimension, which there are many in the physical universe, made their way here. They were white-winged, they were reptilian, and they used a misuse of science to implant or to create subconscious fields of energy that you wouldn't know, and then put these terrorizing things in it. So if they captured you and killed you and stuck you in a body on Earth, not even the Galactic Alliance would know about it. They'd sneak around the background even after they lost the war. They've been doing that for 500,000 years. That has come to a permanent end, so don't worry. They're not in our solar system. There are no reptilians with Nazis in Antarctica either. They are gone. There have been no new gray abductions in 25 years. People are all still talking about stuff that happened then. There's no reptilians in bases underground. I can tell you that our classified people did not get rid of them. They were removed from friends from out of town to help us survive. The polar flips were not done by the Galactic Alliance either. That was created by beings called silent mentors. They are beings who run the mechanics of creation. Planets, galaxies, doorways between dimensions. Everything's held in place by beings like us, like that. Silent mentors, who you'll meet on this journey, are 4 times bigger than that, with twice as many of those little teardrop shape. Those are higher faculties of being. All the lives you've ever lived in the lower worlds, and more importantly, all the lives you've lived, or lives you've lived, in the realities above the void, are stored there. You haven't lost any of them. They're still there. They're not gone. You can't put an implant in that. That's not where engrams are. You can't implant that. It's not made of nuclear material. It can't be nuclear things and weapons and psychotronic weapons. They can't go into that at all. But like the Earth, like the one behind Renata, that field that surrounds way around the outside of it is identical to the field that surrounds you running that body, and it's identical to the field that surrounds the body. It's in the electromagnetic field. The aura is not a little thing with a few collars closed here like psychics can see, because they can't see further. It's quite large, and it surrounds the outside of the physical body. Implants that keep people from knowing things are in that. They're not in the body, they're not in the brain, they're not little chips under the skin. Those were created by scientists on Earth who were classified, and they tested it on human beings for a while without their permission. Some were abducted. It's a nightmare. They did it out of desperation because they were being implanted, and they didn't know how it was being done. The CIA, when it was formed, was being done. They didn't know what was happening. They were outgunned and outclassed technologically, and they were compelled to make treaties with tyrant races for extraterrestrial technology, because the good guys wouldn't give it to us unless we did one thing. This was back in 1950. You have to give up all radioactive man-made materials that only kill things, that make bombs. You have to give up those weapons, or they can't come to Earth and change it, make us part of a galactic alliance, make us a spacefaring race. They could have done that in 1950. We could have been out of this mess. Tyrants are the ones that try to manipulate or force their will on others. The guys out there don't do that. They were nice enough to ask leaders in secret whether or not they could come here and fix this place, and they were turned down. And they've been turned down ever since, until recently. This is very important.
Are the current leaders going to let them come? Are the current leaders saying yes?
Well, the current president probably isn't even involved, doesn't even know about it, but that's another story. But yes, a more classified government on this planet that was created after World War II so people could coordinate reverse engineering, advanced alien technology, and fund it and keep it secret. They had to create a different kind of financial network. They had to create an agreement between 35 countries, and so that they can continue to promote this stuff when certain more tyrant countries on earth could have leaders that would stay in power for decades. A president working 4 years and running 2 of them just to get reelected is not really in a position to properly make decisions based on that. So they create a second government that can make decisions if Washington was suddenly attacked and all the leaders were wiped out. That's the way they were thinking.
Mm.
This is why they made mistakes in judgment back then. And they've continued to make them. So you see the condition of the earth we're in now is that way because of the people on the planet who are still putting out fear in the decisions they make every day. It comes back in a negative way. It can't do anything else. The true purpose of what people call the creative imagination is not fantasy made up in the brain, because the brain of a human being has no motion picture camera in it. It cannot project things on a motion picture in your brain cells. That's impossible. That's not its function. The imagination, or the ability to see out into that universe, go to planets out of body preferably, but also on spacecraft, is something that is generated from the Atma. That is where daydreaming comes from in the day. If you imagine going to the store, your body follows. You get in the car, you go. But if you don't see it first, you go nowhere. Bodies do not run themselves. They can't store a charge like the battery in a car. They get a direct energy link from the Atma, which is plugged into the omnipresent power, in order to run that engine we call a human body. Or it just sits there and drools. They don't run themselves. Without an Atma running it, the body would just fall over dead. Biological machines or genetic entities do not run themselves. Just knowing this alone helps a person begin to understand what they were made to forget. That's part of it. The two things that is being done now in the last year and a half, I suppose, more than ever before, is these guided journeys in English now, in Thai, when it's translated into Thai, in English, coming back to the States finally, because of all of you, by the way. Thank you. It takes real courage to step forward into this area. And you guys have primary implants. We'll get into that. Some of you have had secondary implants gone. There are 3. It's permanent when that's done. It cannot be reversed. And you can never be implanted again. We'll get into that when we get outside of Earth as well in this journey. This is the first English one that's coming back here to the States finally. I found that in my work, humans in the United States are more advanced in a way than other countries, but it takes them more time. Too much more mindlessly entertained here. It takes them more time to step forward. I know Virgil and some other people I know have known about my work for many years, but it took a while for everybody to finally come out of the woodwork, and it took a while for me to bring it back here with friends I work with from out of town who said this is the right time. So there's a lot more people ready for this now, and the energy coming into the planet is increasing to make this possible. It is not possible for humans on Earth collectively to fix this place before this would go up in smoke. That is not possible. They are not awake enough. So we need the intervention of beings from other worlds who are benevolent, human and otherwise, that know the plight this world's been in. Heck, many of you are old friends and relatives of those people out in the stars. In the last few years, they've become aware of where some of their people were snuck off to and stuffed in bodies without their permission. One of the things about implants is it masks your energy signature. That Atma, me, this represents the ancient one. That's far above the void. It's much bigger than that. We'll get into that too. That thing right there, we are identical to it on a smaller scale. Like one of the stars out there in space, floating in this bigger energy. But make no mistake about it, what we are is identical to what people think of as the Supreme Being. Absolutely the same. No difference whatsoever. We have all the same faculties of creation on a smaller scale that it does. People have been asking forever, what's my purpose for existing? Why am I here? What am I? What's my destiny? There is only one right answer. There aren't 10 or 20 or 50 different ways. There's only one. And that answer is we are meant to be conscious, trustworthy co-creators with the source behind all life. We already are. It's not in your future. You're doing it right now. You've had the courage to step forward, even though you have this implant that most people on earth cannot step forward from yet. That means you've all had the ability to master any form of negativity, technology, or anything that was done to you that's made you unaware. But you've been twisted and perverted to doubt and fear it, and that's all. You still know how to do it all. There's just a few things that need to be dropped. Fear is one of them. And then all of that can be coming back into your orbit of awareness. You're all running a body on each of the successive higher heavens or dimensions people talk about. Physical universe, 144 parallel dimensions of it. Different molecular time rates stacked upon each other. That the more advanced races can circumnavigate in ships. So when I tell you there is a galactic interdimensional alliance of free worlds located on planet Zetanami 1 near the galactic core of this galaxy, it isn't even something that people in the UFO and disclosure communities know anything about yet. Blue avians, things like that, small groups in this bigger group. It hasn't surfaced yet, except through this work. There is no federation out there. That from Gene Roddenberry's from Star Trek, when they created these futuristic ideas about spacecraft 2,000 years from now that would run on radioactive warp cores that leave trails of debris out their tailpipes. There's no such thing in our future because it's illegal. Nobody uses nuclear radioactive crap to pilot or navigate or power their ships. They use that energy out there that is non-nuclear. They developed their craft to be able to channel it, fly across the universe. The speed of light is no limit to it, by the way. They don't have any limits like that. That limit was created by people on Earth seeing light measured by physical eyes. And they thought 286,000 miles an hour. Okay, that means light from the stars would take billions of years to get here. This is not true at all. It doesn't. They couldn't see further physically, so they get infrared and ultraviolet and X-rays, but it's the same energy on different vibrational levels. And once the beings that are out there have, for millions, even cases billions of years, figured out how to work with that energy. So they design their equipment and their craft to channel it. If you don't know how to work with that omnipresent force, you're not going to travel among the stars faster than the speed of light, ever. Rocket ships with propulsion out the back end, they're not even practical to go to Mars. 2 years each way, are you kidding? People will not survive in physical bodies in zero gravity. You need artificial gravity or rotating sections or something. Because astronauts in Russia and US both did a joint process where they lived on a space station, International Space Station, for a year. When they came back, and one of the guys from the US had a twin brother so they could monitor his biology. And they found out their bodies atrophied, they lost bone mass, they had neurological problems. People wouldn't survive trips in zero gravity to Mars and back. They have to have gravity under their feet or the neurological system starts to break down. So ships that are come from the stars, and this we're getting to the journey, don't worry. We're taking longer on this one because y'all deserve it. And I don't care. I just want to take you on the journey. Every one of you once knew how to communicate directly with the source behind all life without anything between you. No astral body getting in the way, no mental body getting in the way. You're all running a body in each of those planes you're responsible for as a single Atma. All emotion comes from the astral plane where matter is moved through emotion. The mental plane, it's thought. In the etheric plane, it's through what they call the subconscious. It's really more the Atma running a transparent type of body. And they're supposed to bridge across the void and go back home, but it's so paradisical there. Nobody wants to leave. That's the problem with the lower worlds of time and space. It traps people in the illusion. And they don't want to go back home and fulfill their purpose, which is to be a co-creator with the source. So in a way, the old creation is a stuck place for half of what you would call God, and hasn't changed in billions of years. This whole lower universe in what are called Manvantaras, great cycles of ages, was wiped out. Beings were drawn up above the void. It was wiped out. Then rebuilt, and then people were sent back. And billions of years later, we end up where we are now. It didn't change a thing. Nothing changed.
Well, why is that?
Well, because the beings who were responsible for coming back to source and sharing new insights to change it into something better were not returning. If I asked you how old you were, I'm not talking about your physical body. I'm talking about that. And if I said, how old are you? And you were at the beginning before the lower worlds were even built, then who's really responsible for the condition of what we bitch about down here on Earth?
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing that goes along with absolute freedom: absolute responsibility. And we can't accept that kind of hugely expanded awareness unless we're able to understand and know the life that's out in the multi-dimensional creation, not just in the galaxies you see through a Hubble Space Telescope, all of it. The Atma is capable of understanding and circumnavigating all of it. It's already in you. You don't develop it in the future in some higher evolution. You become telepathic with a photographic memory later on. You're already telepathic. You have photographic memories. But there are certain subconscious spheres that keep people from accessing these things. And that's all it is. There's only one thing we ever have to give up in this life. Ever. Fear. It's an artificial construct. It isn't even a real human emotion. It's implanted. And this goes beyond, when I talk about the primary implants, secondary implants and what they do are not your experiences. They contain torture, death, and will kill you or eat you if you try to remember this, done by cowards, done by people more heavily implanted than you, not human, terrorizing. They themselves were terrorized. So we get rid of those because they keep the primary implant functioning and turned on, stimulated by all the negative stuff in our atmosphere on this planet. It's not a fair playing field. The primary implant actually has what happened to you that killed you and put you on this planet. Basically terrified to remember it because it was not pretty. When people go through an implant review, they're beginning to see what happened to them. It becomes more of a memory, conscious memory. And then its effect is more under your own control. Then we have a choice to fall into old habits. Just habits of looking into what's in the primary implant when we don't, thinking we can solve that by ourselves. We can't. We need people that have never been implanted from off planet to do that. That's why we're going on this journey outside in space, outside of Earth's atmosphere. This is done through a very simple process. When any of us imagine going to the store, to the beach, or to a movie, you always picture it first. The body then will follow. But people on Earth are not taught any of this. They're not taught to look out into the universe with their daydreaming capability and see other worlds and see other dimensions and see things they forgot. Remember what their purpose is. And since they're not taught that, most of the higher faculties that are required to be used in order to do this are turned off or just dormant. So these journeys help us to recover higher faculties of creativity despite implants. Because when we go on this journey, Your secondary, if you have them, and primary implants will be kept off. They will remain with your sleeping body on Earth. We go into a thing people on Earth call sleep. Beings from other worlds call it a trance state called sleep. Because they know how to leave their bodies from birth. They're taught this. It's not hidden on their worlds. So they can leave their body. They can pilot ships here, and they also get out of their bodies and go to where they're going before the ships get there. It's not like what people think. They're normal. Earth people are not yet normal. They once were, but they aren't now. So when you close your eyes, which I would ask you to do, all we're doing is shutting off that part of the brain that takes information in through the eyes from the physical planet where your body is. And people do it when they go to bed at night and go to sleep. They do it anyway. Everybody's a master at it. Then another doorway opens up through the pineal gland in the center of the human brain. There's a pine cone, a big one, in the courtyard in the Vatican. It represents the pineal gland. They don't want people to know about that, because that's how you control the body as an Atman. That's how you leave the body, through the pineal doorway. This is not hidden in other worlds. Children know it. The time children are 10 on most of the worlds we're going to visit, they have the equivalent of 10 PhDs to a person on Earth, and they're only 10. Humans on those worlds, when they grow up and they look to be about 36, they may be several hundred to 300 years old compared to an Earth human. Because the telomeres on their 4-stranded DNA, not 2, don't shrink when the cells divide. They do here. You okay with it, Owen? It's okay if you yawn. It's okay if you even nod off. It won't matter. This isn't about your body. The body is going into what we call the trance state. It's the same thing you put in every night when you go to sleep. It's completely identical. Except because of the telepathic nature of my work and my voice and the beings we'll meet outside of Earth's atmosphere. This remains a conscious movement so that the body goes to sleep, but you do not. Call it out-of-body travel, that's fine. We start to work in the other realities. We're going more through what's called direct projection. That's the ability of the Atma to move beyond time and space. The speed of light's got nothing to do with it. And we move through that energy out there that is non-nuclear. Gravity and black holes, speed of light has no effect on our movements as the Atma. It never has, and it never will. That's what we've been made to forget, what we really are. It's never been one of these. This thing that we're supposed to be like the source was never one of these. There's no guy up there sitting on a throne dictating for people what to do and how to worship them. Because the source, which I go to all the time and you have a right to, never required that we worship it in the first place. We're supposed to know it and respect it and each other. That's it. And you got all this stuff on Earth doing just quite the opposite. People put this thing they don't understand on a pedestal. And as long as they do that, it's forever receding away from them. The beings I know would not allow you to put them on a pedestal. The master teachers I work with would shun you. They aren't like what you think you've been taught on Earth. They don't work that way. When they see you, they see your potential. They know who you are. They don't see you as an unconscious little minion on Earth that forgot everything. They see you as the Atma. And immediately the energy flowing through them begins to rub off on us. They teach by direct example, not on a blackboard, not in a computer. The pure energy of the hue flows through them unhindered. It flows through us, and it begins to change us, because it's meant to. You might say there's a new energy flowing through the omnipresent source, down through the worlds that wasn't there 10 years ago in Earth time. Something's changed up there that cannot be reversed, and it's moving through the universe in one direction. And as it moves through it, the yin and yang, the positive and negative people do on Earth, where they've been taught to fear the present and the future in their imagination and embrace good and wealth for their own family, are opposing forces. In the lower worlds, the energy splits into two component particles, like a positive and negative on a battery. And we're caught in the middle of this. If our imagination is split in half and we start imagining both good and bad, it splits the ability of the atma to manifest being a co-creator, drives the energy down to the earth, and neutralizes it. That's backward. We are meant to have this yin and yang, this opposing forces come back, circling each other with another golden white light around it, the source energy, so that when we manifest, it goes into the worlds of time and space and does not create repercussions in space, time, karma, reincarnation, unconsciousness. These events take place because people's energy is split in half, and they're not working on all thrusters. And so one diminishing result gets another from the time we started visiting the lower worlds and running body forms. Even without implants, people have long forgotten what they once knew when they first started in these journeys, exploring the worlds that were created below the void. So, on the journey, which we're now about to start, took a while. Some people are new to this. I have to responsibly bridge the staircase for you first. I can tell you this much. This is telepathic. When we're done with this journey, you will never forget it. You will not be able to forget it. It's awake in you now. It was always there. I didn't give it to you. Imagine someone you love and respect, you're grateful they are in your life, a person, place, or thing. But something when you first visualize it makes you smile inside. That's easy. A waterfall, a baby's smile, a hummingbird, a car you like, it doesn't matter as long as it's genuine. Now that opens a doorway through the pineal gland. It creates an energy conduit to the core of the being that you are, the spherical being. And it begins to make this experience a conscious one. This is not new to any of you. This is stuff you knew billions of years ago, and one way or another were made to forget it all. So recovering what you already carry, when done the right way, is a pretty easy thing. But it has to be in our true form of communication. That is telepathic. Telepathic communication between beings in the omnipresent one power cannot be intervened with or interfered with or penetrated by any negative nature whatsoever. This has always been this way since the beginning. All of you are older than space and time and all the worlds and galaxies you see. This is pretty amazing when you begin to realize it's true, because it is. That kind of thing cannot be reversed once it awakens in you. I'm going to send out the hue now. There are beings I will introduce to you out in space, and why they're there and how they work, you will understand it. I'm going to send it out on increasing higher tone levels because I'm not alone doing it. I'm doing it with friends who do not have subconscious minds, and they are joining all of us so that they will go on this journey with us, not only as guides and protectors, but they'll keep a primary implant turned off in you, so when you go on this journey, you will get maximum recovered benefit from it. And you will bring that higher energy that is no negative nature from the upper worlds back to your body on earth. You're going to find that your IQ goes up, your intelligence accelerates, and you're able to understand and comprehend things you couldn't a month ago. When you play this journey back a second time a few days later, get a notepad, go to the bathroom, get some food, shut it off, turn it on, do whatever you want. But the second time you go through it, you're going to realize how much took place, and you're going to be able to comprehend it as if you always knew it. This takes place pretty swiftly, gradually, but in a swift, gradual way. Let's put it that way. There is a man and a woman. They look to be about 36 years old. They're from the Galactic Alliance. The Galactic Alliance, the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, by the way, is comprised of more than 450 million spacefaring world systems. That covers just under half the galaxy. The other half is run by a race called the Xeontranamus, from a planet called Xeontranamon 1. They work together. So there really is no bad guys out there allowed to do what they used to do. That's been stopped. And they're being changed. Implants are being removed from them too. Or we wouldn't be able to do this here. The man and the woman look to be about 36. They have long hair to their shoulders. They're human, humanoid, mostly human-like. Some have snake-like skin, no scales, beautiful, beautiful snake-like eyes, bald, well-dressed. Some are like humanoid, longer ears, green skin, violet eyes, gold eyes, all kinds of neat stuff. And these are normal human and humanoid beings that Atmas are running out there in space right now. You once knew all of them. You were once all of them. I can't make this more plain to all of you. You've had more evolved, higher genetic lives with greater intelligence, lives thousands of years old, that you've lived out there before you ever found yourself on this planet with little or no memory intact. When I speak to you and tell you this, there's a part of you that knows, that cannot be denied. It means you're older than time, wiser than space, and your destiny is to be a conscious co-creator with the source of this whole thing. Collectively, we make up that source. It is a conscious thing, but it's not an individual when you go to the source itself. We can merge in it, we can talk with it, but it is a construct of a presence of being that involves every atma in the entire multidimensional universe, connected through the hue. It is called Source by beings from out in the stars, Prime Creator. They do not worship it. They experience it. They respect it, themselves and each other. This is all we have to do. It's so simple. To embrace and be free in the entire multidimensional creation again as we once were. We have to begin to recover and be aware of the grand, vast nature of life that's out there. It's required. We need to be able to respect it all, or we can't walk out amongst the stars and play in it all as the free beings we're meant to be. If we're trustworthy, we do not generate negative thought. We do not generate negative emotion. If we're free of these subconscious drives, you become a being that has no negative nature. When we go above the void, ego, egocentricity, arrogance, all those things cannot be brought with us. They do not go into the void. The void prevents that. It is a barrier. We have to leave that stuff turned off with our sleeping bodies back on Earth. I will begin the hue now. You You what that does is creates a doorway between us being out of our bodies on earth, which we are, hovering near the ceiling, looking down on it to see what it looks like if you're above near the ceiling. You're doing it anyway all the time. Fear is the only thing that keeps people from seeing this as natural as daydreaming. It's that easy. And then we're going to ride this current outside of Earth's atmosphere, and we're going to plug ourselves into that omnipresent power out there. That black void that is not black, that is a golden white light. You will see it. The man and woman standing beside you are projecting a physical-looking human body made of pure energy, a projection from the core of the hue. They are Galactic Alliance personnel. Do not think of them as space aliens, because you were once them. There is nobody on Earth that ever evolved here. No human being ever evolved on this planet. They were imported here, going back a long time. One series of scenarios after another. One polar flip after another. A planet called Maldek was blown up several million years ago. It now orbits in the asteroid field as an asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter. Roughly twice the distance between any other planet. At 50-some thousand miles an hour, if a planet's blown apart from the center outward, it destroys the atmosphere of Mars, starts flipping Earth's poles, all kinds of stuff goes haywire. And then it spreads out by centrifugal and centripetal forces and becomes an asteroid field of debris orbiting in the circle of a planet around the sun. That's where it came from. It didn't just spring out of there like mushrooms out of the ground. It was not a pretty thing. The beings who lived there were 3 billion. You still with me, Angela?
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's good if you can see with your eyes open, go ahead. But it helps to
No,
close.
I was just itching.
No, but it helps to close them because then you're turning on this other.
Yeah.
We're going to leave the body behind anyway.
Okay.
I mean, this is new to all of you, so you're just getting a little bit of a briefing about something you knew very well anyway. None of this I'm sharing with you and waking up with you is new to you, except in this lifetime. You deserve it. It's yours. It belongs to you. You have a right to know who you are, to be free of subconscious influences and implants and engrams and all that stuff. You're not meant to keep them. The fact that you have power over them is why you're here. You had the courage to do it. I just made it possible for you to find this. You stepped up to bat. This is important for you each to recognize how incredibly important that is. Because you're beginning to unravel this tight knot. And there isn't any power in creation that can prevent this now. You are here. You are co-creating this. You're like gods clothed in rags. And you're supposed to be gods and goddesses without the rags. Floating around the multiverse. Going and visiting friends from out of town, other planets, other galaxies, other dimensions. This man and woman, showing you a perfect form, are hovering near the ceiling. There's an Atma above them, just like you. And you realize this man and woman look perfect, flawless, handsome, beautiful, about young adult, 36 years old. Believe me, they are hundreds of years old. They're showing the body as it looks that they really have aboard a ship. There are a number of those ships out there. They have the technology to change their molecular time rate because of the electromagnetic field they surround their ships with, so they can blink in and blink out. You know, they can blink in somewhere and people can see them. They get picked up on radar and advanced technology. And then they blink out and show up, 100 miles away at the other end of the atmosphere. This is normal stuff, folks, for them. For them, it's like riding a bus. And for you, it was the same way long ago. What they're doing, these two people assigned to each one of you, are part of the Galactic Alliance personnel. They happen to be also experts in removing secondary implants. So they're keeping your primary implant, whatever that is, turned off. And suddenly you realize you have a body that's perfect, flawless, handsome, about 36, that you show each of us. This is our true form that predates physical bodies. It's not a physical body, but it looks like one, dressed well. This is how we reveal ourselves to each other. When we're not influenced by fear, we know how to do it. We all do. And you realize that you are an Atma hovering between two Atmas, and you're running a body that's perfect. You're showing each of us. The next instant, you're up at 10,000 feet in the air. Still there, floating there with you. And you can look down through the roof of your house, right through the roof, and see you hovering near the ceiling. This is direct projection. We are in both places simultaneously. Because the Atma, what you are, is a multidimensional capable being. You always have been. It's not something you need to learn in the future. Become enlightened and acquire somehow. You've already earned it. You already do it. It just needs to be awakened to consciousness. Next thing you know, you're in space, standing in a circle of beings. You can see the Earth in the distance with the polar ice caps, the ocean and land masses, and the barren moon, meteor crater. It orbits Earth, does not turn on its axis at all. It always shows us the same face. Physically, that's impossible. The Earth's gravity, the sun, the other planets would have it doing something, but it does not turn at all. And this goes back into galactic history, a history you once knew. It goes back into solar system history. It is not normal. It's one of the things that will be fixed in the future about this world. Out in space, there's a being standing 18 feet tall. He is named Ambassador Trillian. He's from the Say-Rays race. They are human. He's showing you a form. Their race was 18 to 25 feet tall. They are human. They did not evolve in our galaxy. They didn't evolve in galaxies anywhere near here. They immortalized their form over 1 billion Earth years ago. They just dematerialized them. They had this ability and stored the DNA structure, which is 12-stranded, not 2, into a little golden teardrop in the golden area around the white core of the Atma. So when this guy appears for you to see him as a human, he's drawing on the hue around him, filling it with this energy, and then he can show himself to you as they once were 1 billion years ago. He does not have the burden of pushing around a physical body or taking it to the bathroom or feeding it. When he's done using it, he puts it away. What he's showing us here is our potential. He isn't teaching us on a blackboard. The hue is flowing through him and right through us so that we pick up on it. Eventually it rubs off. That's the best way I have of putting it. These journeys are about direct experience, your experience. I experience something wondrous and new every time I see some lifetime you all had that you've been repressed from knowing that was beyond your imagination and development. Very different from your life here. Up above Trillian's head is a big Atma like the Atma we are. Maybe a little brighter, a little larger. An Atma just the same. There are master teachers here. One is named Ramu. He was around 100,000 years ago on Earth, the time of Lemuria. I was there. Some of you were there. This is no big deal. He has a maroon robe, about 6 feet tall. Short cropped curly black beard and hair. Simple rope for a belt, sandals. He's holding a 6 foot tall crystal staff. Obviously, this is energy, but he carries one like it in his real physical body back on Earth. It's 6 feet tall and has the ancient Egyptian Ankh for eternal life cresting it. It's a cross with a vertical oval hole in an oval. It's a device. He's a teacher. 2 other crystals fit into the eye of that Ankh, and it's used to take people to source to prepare them to be a master teacher in their own right, a co-creator. So it's his trademark, his symbol. The body he's showing you looks to be about 36. It's over 500 years old. He has it back on Earth, in a city called Agamdes, in a Himalayan-type mountain range, on a continent that is from the left to the right hemisphere. No polar ice caps. It's in the 3rd higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. These beings know how to traverse between these areas. They can do it personally. They can do it on a ship. Out in space further is a being named Opelum, standing there, showing you a body that's over 500,000 years old, unaged, that he has on a planet called Oceania on the other side of the solar system, other side of the galaxy. He's pale blue skin, jet black hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, slightly pointed ears like an elf. He's holding up his right hand. There are little webs between his fingers. He lifts his neck. You see little slits under his neck, high up in the back of his neck, but you wouldn't see unless he lifted his neck. They are Oceanians. They have the most advanced crystalline-based science and technology in our galaxy. He was sponsored the establishment of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds over 500,000 years ago. His body hasn't aged in all that time, the one he has on Oceania. So he's showing you how things can be. Their immortalization is different than Terrellians because they have simply understand the science, the precise sound frequencies that turn off and on genomes on the DNA. They turn it on a certain way. The telomeres do not shrink when cells divide. They do not age. Simple as that. So simple. There are beings, 2 of them, who I've known for over 100,000 years, and I adore them in ways I can't even describe. They are Drens. They are not human. They come from Oceania, where Opelum does. They are 3 feet long from the tip of their cute snouts to the tip of their tail. They stand upright. They have pale green bodies, big bulbous blue eyes. When their mouths are closed, they look like they're amused about something. Their tails grow like crystal opal in bright sunlight because they're silica-based DNA, not carbon. They evolved with the ability to levitate and fly through the air as an organic species. They are considered master teachers. The Atma is hovering above the forms they're showing you. Their bodies are over 100,000 years old. I first met them back in when a ship came to Lemriel before the poles changed and the land was destroyed. I was there. I was not from Earth. I suspect all of you were there in the Galactic Alliance or at some lifetime out there. I know that all of you have lives out in the Galactic Alliance long before people stopped herding animals here and made cities. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, in some cases millions. Out here in space, when you look around you, you do not see a black light like you see in a Hubble Space Telescope image. You are an Atma. You are seeing with the eyes of the Atma, and it's a white golden light everywhere. The Earth, the Moon, the suns, the stars, billions of them, float in this other energy. The electromagnetic field, zero-point or toroidal field energy, is made of the hue. It's designed to circle around the poles of a being or a planet. It allows it to float in this other energy that supports all life, good and bad, everything. It's unbiased, unprejudiced. We're made of it. When we start to become conscious and we start to use our ability to see things on these journeys, we begin to be able to do it on our own. It just takes a little more courage. There's always a guide here. I'm certainly here for all of you. There's a sound that accompanies this omnipresent field of force. And it sounds like rumbling thunder, but it's not frightening. There's no lightning. It's everywhere in space. It's the sound the physical universe makes, or what the hue emanates as a first sound. As you go up through the dimensions, the plane or the sound becomes finer and finer and finer. From the realm that's the first realm above the void, it sounds like the high note of a flute, but it's much more beautiful than that. And when we hear it, it begins to draw us upward. It's naturally in the omnipresent hue, but we have to tune into it. The hue sound mimics the sound of the universe, the first sound behind creation. So it's in a harmonious vibration, and when it opens the door through the pineal gland, the body and its problems need to be put to sleep so that we can travel and remember. Above Eta and Din, that's their names, these Drens, there is a being standing in space, quite high up. He's recently begun to make journeys down here, and he didn't do that before. His name is Sat Nam. It just means first sound, first name, first personification of any human form you will see ever created. The form he's showing you is not a physical body, but it looks like one. 36, flawless, handsome, bronze skin, bald head, gold eyes, 2 gold bracelets on his upper arms, little white tunic dress from his waist down to his bare ankles. He's just standing there. And above him is an hourglass-shaped vortex of white golden light spinning upward. It has a blue-green water-like light whirling around it, which is corralling the energies of the lower dimensions of time and space and creating a doorway between this physical dimension where you know of as Earth and the area above or in the void itself. And then we go further. But we're not going there first. First, I'm going to create a triangle of experience with friends out of town. These are friends, they're master teachers. You guys are very much already potential master teachers as you are. You just need to wake up a few more things and drop fear, that's all. The rest just falls naturally into place, like breathing. Very easy, effortless. When you look at Lemriel, he's got his 2 fists closed with his thumbs up. He's a big being. He's 18 foot tall. I might be 6 feet there. I look kind of in the form I show you folks like Captain Calum in the Emerald Doorway book, because that body was the closest on a physical body form that looked like the real energy body form I am, that I had to show all of you before we even ventured into the lower worlds, just like you had to show me, each one of you. This is not something you learn how to do later. It's not something you acquire later. You all know how to do it. When fear's gone, you can do it. It's just like there. And then it doesn't leave you. You begin to walk down the street at lunch tomorrow, and you reflect on this journey, and it just doesn't leave you. It's pretty interesting. The energy we're plugging to and out here around his fist is a golden light around his fist. It's a brighter white golden light than the hue around us. So when you look up to the Sat Nam character, there's a channel of a beam of white golden light coming down from the upper realities where no negative nature is, our true home. It comes through Lemriel, out his hands, and through us, right through us, through the physical form that looks human, through the Atma, brightens the core, and then it goes out into space and onto Earth. It comes through us for our benefit, but continues for the benefit of others. This energy now only moves one way. It isn't positive and negative. It doesn't swing up and down or backwards and forwards. It's moving through our solar system in one direction. And its purpose is to remove anything in the way of you being a conscious co-creator with the source. That's what it does now. Lemriel, if you look around us now, there are 12 ships, 30 feet in diameter. They are blue-gray metallic discs. They're on the front cover of the Sayre's Gender book. That's original artwork. It isn't copied from the internet. I had to hire the best artists and work with him over time to create these exact images, particularly the Atma on the front of the Emerald Doorway book. Because it's the only place on earth you'll find what you really look like until you see it for yourself. So seeing it for yourself begins to trigger something. It begins to turn back on what you've been made to forget. You are round. You are not a physical form. Atmas choose of choice to be feminine or masculine. This exists all the way up to the source itself. So you might as well get that across right now. A lot of great new understandings and awareness in right discrimination and wisdom come from this understanding. You can't deny this. It cannot be hidden from you. Out in this pure energy, it wakes you up. Once it's awake, that's it. Things happen in your outer life that begin to recover more. It's natural. There are 12 ships. They have 3 semi-spheric pods on the bottom, a thin blue antigravitic light around the craft, and we as Atmas can see right into the halls. There are 4 couples, always, on each ship. There are a couple sitting or laying, apparently sitting down asleep shoulder to shoulder in a lounge in the back. The other 3 couples are working a semicircular crystal control console with different faceted luminous crystal controls. And then you realize the man and woman standing beside you that stood there before you left your body behind are standing beside you, right to your left and right, in the circle of beings around Lemriel. And you realize that they have left their body. The other co-workers keep the things working, but they have to go out as an Atma to go where we're going. Because how we're getting there, there's no ship that can travel this fast. There is a mile-long cylindrical-shaped craft with a bridge control on each end that has no open launch bay doors. It's designed to travel through interdimensional doorways or portals that were constructed by us in the beginning that exist throughout the multiverse. Advanced races know how to map them out and travel through them. Some of them can create their own doorways. So they don't go through regular time and space in this physical parallel dimension we live in to get around. There's a whole secret to that. And I suspect all of you were once scientists who knew it quite well. I know you knew it well. I can see it in your being. You knew it well. This is not a problem for me. I'm mirroring it because you deserve to have this back. Yes? Lemriel is pointing out in space between the Earth and the Moon. The bunch of beings we are, 8 plus 2 for each of you, and these master teachers, including Etta and Din, and Ramu and Opelum, Satnam too, we're moving like a bunch of planets around a central sun. That would be Lemriel. He serves as a central focus point to keep us focused on creating benefit from this journey and not getting sidetracked into phenomena. It's phenomenal enough the way we're moving. And suddenly we realize we are moving as a group of beings in this oval bubble of higher hue that comes from the source, through the omnipresent you, towards the center of the galaxy, and suddenly we're high above the entire galaxy looking down on it. It's a golden white light everywhere, not black. Nearest neighbor is Andromeda. It's a little bigger than our galaxy, spiral galaxy, and then there's more of them receding off into the distance. We are traveling as Atmas. We don't need spacecraft. They have limits. The Galactic Alliance spacecraft can travel between 144 parallel dimensions, but they cannot go into the astral plane. There's a barrier there. You have to get out of their bodies and go to that plane, play in ships there, so to speak, and so forth, on up through the planes until we reach what's called the void. It is a pale blue area as vast as you can imagine, doesn't appear to be anything in it, thus the name, the void. But it is a pure hue barrier between the lower worlds of time and space and the upper realities. And we still live there. We never left. Atmas are multidimensional capable. Each single being runs at least 5 bodies in the lower dimensions of time and space. But you don't remember them. People think their higher selves are helping them, but often what's true is that they don't even know where you're down here. And they don't work with the one above or below them either. They've got their own problems. So part of these journeys when we come back from the higher worlds is to get them awake and working with each other. This is a given. When we return, this is what we do. And we're moving through space. You can see stars blurring by us on each side. And then we're starting to look down towards the central core of the galaxy. And what looks like in some photographs you'll see online, most of them show a white golden light running up and down the shaft of a galaxy, which is correct. It's not a black hole. Human eyes just can't see it. The vibration's too powerful. It's higher than human eyes can detect. It goes up into other realities and all the way back to the source. The sign of infinity comes from this. It's always moving through all these interdimensional doorways, supporting all life on all levels. We know this stuff. We understand it as the Atma. When we bring it back to the earth body, we enlighten it, because it didn't grow up knowing any of this. So we have to bring it back, plug it into the electromagnetic field you call the aura, around the body, so you have access to these higher realities. You can jump through them, especially when implants are gone, and go out and travel. One thing I forgot to do was mute some mics, because we get a little bit better recording quality when that happens. We'll turn them on when we come back. As we come down towards the galactic core of the galaxy, we begin to focus down through millions of stars, much more compacted towards the galactic core than they are where Earth is, out one of the spiral arms 2/3 of the way out towards the outer perimeter of the galaxy. We're going down towards the galactic core. As we recede down towards this, we begin to see that there is a huge planet, no polar ice caps, it's 4 times bigger than Earth. And there are 3 moons the size of Earth, populated, not overpopulated, circling it. And it is circling a trinary sun system. That means there are 3 suns these planets orbit. Scientists on Earth today know that most of the suns out in our galaxy are not single like ours, they're binary or trinary. The nearest star to Earth is a binary sun system, not a single one. Bigger sun with a smaller sun circling it, that kind of thing. The effect on human life on these worlds, no polar ice caps, and what it does to genetics is much higher evolutionary capability. The hue moves through such world systems to a much more powerful degree, the sound. That's why water on those worlds glows. H2O has the property to charge and hold the hue. Humans cannot, even in our bodies. It has a multi-dimensional capability to record information and is a telepathic medium to other worlds. It's pretty amazing when we rediscover the secret of water. H2O. Both gases combined become a liquid. It has very significant properties. More advanced races among the stars have learned how to use it a long time ago. And then we start moving down through this bluish pinkish cloud cover. And we end up hovering as a group of beings above a very long, like a geodesic dome, but elongated. It's got a white shimmer to it, like a stone with little glittering particles in it. You can just see through it. Around it is botanical paradise of waterfalls and little trails. Out in the distance, a curved, luminous golden beach and a brilliant glowing ocean, foot above the waves. The waterfalls, there's a light that glows around them. Certain leaves on trees glow. We're glowing as we carry our own light. We always light up where we go. There are pyramidal, long elongated pyramidal structures, spherical buildings on tripod legs, little waterfalls and little, three-tiered waterfalls and rock gardens, and people are walking around in this city structure. People do not live in cities on these worlds. They live out in the country. They teleport to cities to work, mostly in advancing things that will benefit more than 450 million world systems. This is how normal worlds work out there. People on Earth are in for quite a shock to discover just how much more advanced humans on other worlds really are. It's our destiny to walk into this. We can't avoid it. There's only two ways this planet can go: annihilate human life on it again, or turn it around unexpectedly at the last minute. People out in the galaxy have decided to do that with us, or we would be dead now. Nuclear war would have happened already. First attempted start of a nuclear war was in 1950, where they pushed the button. The launch computers here in the former Soviet Union were shut down from space. Nobody spoke, nobody mentioned anything, nobody tried to run governments. It's like saying, look, you guys can do whatever you want. We're not tyrants, but we can't let you do that, because that would harm billions of lives in parallel and other realities that are accessed through points on Earth people don't even know exist. And we do not have that right. We have never had that right. People think they're going to go out in space, China and Russia and United States, and split the spoils of space and compete over it. That is no future for us in space this way. And there never will be, because space, in fact, is already occupied by far more advanced races. And we're going to have to join them, not the other way around. It is not a federation. That's Star Trek. I love the movies too, but that's not our future. It is a galactic alliance on a scale you can't imagine. Many other alien races, Pashats, are giant tiger-like, lion-like people. Great warriors. Nervous systems are 10 times faster than ours. They're space-exploring people. There are people that are human with wings. There's all kinds of stuff out there. There's mantis-type people, Nordics, Caucasian, tall white, African-American-like beings that aren't like people on Earth, that they came from. Every race represented on Earth came from the stars. No race ever evolved on this planet, ever. It's not possible for this many types of variations in human beings to be created in one atmosphere revolving around one sun. That is not possible. Just knowing this changes a person forever, because they know they didn't come from here, neither did anyone else. Everybody living on Earth today are extraterrestrial to this planet. Most of the mammalian plant life, whales and dolphins, they didn't evolve here either. All that's theory. Nobody has any proof of it. Old bones, prehistoric, embedded in ice, or fossilized. Sure. So what? That doesn't prove they evolved here at all. And they were eliminated. It was done deliberately, so that beings like this could begin to colonize this planet. It's an old story, not new. We're coming down into this dome, and Terrellian's in the center, and we're all floating. We're passing right through this dome. It's matter. We are not. We find ourselves hovering near the ceiling, and there are 15 tiers of white marble centrifugal, concentric circles of marble floors with white leather-like seats in all of them, and 5,000 men and women standing in front of the chair with a white gown on with a gold sash from the right upper shoulder to the lower hip and has a Galactic Alliance symbol on it. This is a silver galaxy, four-sided gold pyramid with a quartz cap and 3 blue stars in triangular formation above the apex. It's ancient. And they're looking at us, which means they know who you are, which means we are there as Atmas. When you look above the bodies they're showing you, that looked all to be about 36 to 40, maybe 50, but purely healthy. Some of these beings in this council are thousands of years old, some 7,000, 10,000 years old. They're still running a body. This is not Earth, folks. This does not have the problems Earth people have. They don't have subconscious minds. They know who they are that isn't a body, and they have advanced space travel. They can go between galaxies. This is normal stuff out there. We do not have to figure out how to make it work. We have to grow up on Earth, be free of fear, and then we can join them. They'll give us all the technology at no cost because they don't use money. It's outlawed. They grow up contributing to their world systems, motivated, passionately motivated to contribute something new that will be beneficial to all those worlds. That's how they think. They do not think like people on Earth. They were not interested in intervening in whether Earth gets destroyed or not in the past. When Maldek was blown up in our solar system, they did not intervene. That bit them in the ass for several million years. Now they do in a certain way, because they know now, because of the Sayres who visited them. You will see the story of that visit in the Sayres Agenda book, revealed. That's when I first met him. I befriended this guy. He is a being of few words. He teaches by demonstration. The hue comes through this omnipresent power, through his advanced consciousness, seeps through us, goes on to help others, and eventually we just pick up on it. And we evolve, we change. That is what happens in the Sayres Agenda book and why it was written. It is a conduit of the omnipresent power. It is published on Earth to help people connect to something too terrifying in their subconscious keeps them from connecting to it. Obviously, you are all being helped in a way most unusual and very rare, but it is growing. It cannot be stopped and it cannot be reversed. I do not have enemies in the classified community on Earth. No men in black bother me. They do not shut off satellites. They don't threaten me because I'm not a threat. They know this is their only way out. They have to start to work with beings in other worlds and reveal the truth of people on Earth, or it will be done for them anyway. Best to get the cooperation of people on Earth so that we don't have rioting in the street, people hoarding toilet paper and paper towels like they did with COVID, for crying out loud. It has to be done in a way that requires billions of other beings from other worlds to supervise or at least oversee the unconscious people on Earth, or they're not going to survive what they're doing. This is a fact. Everybody knows it. We have to get help from the larger God from outside of Earth. That's all there is to it. We have to embrace it. It's required of us to know life out there. It's part of how we set it up. And although it's a failed experiment of good of evil and it's being retired, replaced by what is called the hue expansion ray, which is a new consciousness sweeping through the omnipresent power from the source itself. On blue stage, a disc-shaped stage, Terrellian is standing there, 18 foot tall. He's appeared like he appeared to us in space outside of Earth. He's got a big book and he opens it up. It's made of metallic blue metal pages. It's got fire letters like hieroglyphics dancing on it. You can't read it that way. There's a white golden light coming down through him, through the pages, goes into the Galactic Alliance members and up into each one of us. And it moves through us on throughout to the atmosphere of the planet. The Sayre's agenda is not my agenda. It is a process that is underway now that cannot be reversed, fortunately for us, to help liberate a stuck planet in a plan that is going on for the first time in the entire history of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds and in the entire history of the multiverse. Things are changing for the first time. And we find ourselves going across the galaxy as a group around Lemriel, thousands of times the speed of light, because we're moving in energy that doesn't have anything to do with the speed of light. It's not molecular, it's not nuclear. And we stop to hover above another world that's all water covered, 4 times bigger than Earth, 3 planets its size, mostly water covered, with no ice caps. And you can see Master Opellum standing in the circle around Lemriel pointing to it. This is his world. It is on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy from Earth. It is in the 3rd higher parallel dimension. It has several islands around the equator. 3 suns. Big blue one, yellow one. I think there's a smaller yellow one further out. It's a trinary sun system. It is in one of the spiral arms midway, a little bit past midway on the other side of the galaxy. There are 7 in the Milky Way. And as we pass down through this pale pink cloud atmosphere, we notice that the oxygen and water molecules in the atmosphere are glowing. And as we pass through the cloud layer, we can see a big island center of the equator. It has a golden beach of sand that's glowing. The ocean is glowing. It's this beautiful blue-green ocean that glows a foot above the waves. And we're moving down through the hue that charges this planet properly. This planet is not overpopulated. Master Opellum is moving ahead of us now, out of the circle, the Atma hovering above the form. He's levitating right through the air, not a problem, it's energy. He comes to land with his feet, his bare feet on the sand, and we do the same thing. We feel the sand moving up our legs because these are body forms that have sensory capability, even sight, but they are not molecular DNA bodies. They're communicating the energy of this sand, this energy, this charge, this hue up through our legs, up through the top of our head, out into the core of our being, and makes all the layers a little brighter. It is a gift from Master Opellum. And then we find ourselves standing on this beach, lifting some of this sand up in our hand. And it's glowing. It's like quartz, like golden quartz. But it's kind of rounded, polished stuff that feels good in your hand. And it has been designed to hold a certain charge. Quartz has this capability. Most of Earth's mantle is quartz and they don't even use it. And then it moves into your hand. The sand just goes right into this energy hand, up through the top of your head, into the white core of your being, out to the golden layer of teardrops, and turns some of them on that have not been on, perhaps for several billion years. You can see 3 domed cities in the distance in clearings, maybe a half a mile apart. Jungle trees, the leaves of which glow a little bit. And there's a transparent spherical tube coming out of the jungle that goes down into the ocean. And while we're watching it, a tube, a car, a double-ended quartz crystal-shaped car glowing from blue to green to red on each end, stops in the tube. And we see these blue-skinned Oceanian people, just like Master Opellum, have a Galactic Alliance symbol on their front lapel. And there's men and women facing each other in opposite seats, 8 of them. They look up and wave. This is their physical form. You can see an Atma hovering above them. They know we're here. They see this. They've been prepared. And then the car blurs at the speed of, it just blurs in a light blur and disappears down the tube in the ocean. So now we go down into the ocean and follow it. Torellian and all of us are just moving right down through the water. Doesn't bother us a bit. We don't have to breathe it. We're not breathing oxygen anyway. And we stop and see dome cities along the ocean floor, connected by these transport tubes, going off in the distance. The whole ocean floor is lit up. These dome cities are several miles. They're miles in length and very tall. Each of them had 3 4-sided golden-sided quartz cap pyramids in the back third, a semicircular mountain range around them, small mountains with little glowing waterfalls cascading down and feeding an oval blue-green lake. There are little white ivory comb dome dwellings throughout the countryside and beautiful tall violet and blue grass and trees lining these white marble walkways go to the lake and off to this science research center where the pyramids are. There's a long oval ivory colored building about a third of the height of the pyramids, situated between the pyramids. They're in triangular formation. Now Pelham's standing on the path and we're on the grass around him. The trees lining the path are like large large weeping willow trees with broad spoon-shaped leaves reaching down to the ground, luminous. Because the water in these plants and the sap is charged, it glows. The water in the lake's glowing. The ocean water outside this dome, you can look right through the clear transparent surface of it. This is oceanic technology. The technology to build such things was given to the Galactic Alliance 500,000 years ago by this group of beings. Torellian was mentoring these beings 500,000 years ago. It'll help you understand that when Torellian came back into this picture, these non-physical beings, fairly recently, they brought with them a kind of an energy that changed the Galactic Alliance to get involved in or care about what happens to Earth. After all, we're from them. You came from them. You came from the higher realities above the void, and we're going there next. The next thing you realize is we are in space near Earth again, hovering around Torellian, and he's pointing upward. Then you see Satnam way up there at Eta and Din start to recede up through this vortex. The sound of a high note of a flute is drawing us upward. There's a golden shaft of white light pulling us upward. And we move up inside the throat of the narrow area of this churning energy. We hear the sound moving around us. And we look out through the walls of this vortex, we can see layer after layer of galaxies and planes. We're bypassing them. We're moving through the astral, 144 parallel dimensions, the causal, the mental, the etheric. And the next thing we know, we're out hovering in this huge, infinite looking, pale blue atmosphere, charged with the hue. The white golden light is behind this blue color. You can sense it. The vortex behind us vanishes. Everywhere around us is this void. There are actually beings here, but we are not on a journey to visit them this time. Most people never see them on their way through here. And then Satnam is receding into the distance and disappears, and then you see a little white speck of a light and far into the distance. We're approaching it. And as it grows, it becomes this brilliant white luminous beach that curves gradually left and right. You sense that it is a circumference around some massive land. And then you see Satnam land on this white sand. It's much brighter than any light or sound below us. It is the beginning of the shore of the Atma plane, the first realm above the void, beyond it, not in it, not below it. Satnam is the governor or manager of this plane. It has no negative nature. We cannot bring egos or vanity or any of that fear-driven stuff here. That's left off with our bodies on earth. That's why we're able to do this. The next thing you know, you're all standing on this shore, and this blue energy behind you looks like ocean waves crashing on a luminous bright beach, and Turelian's standing up to his knees offshore, 18 foot tall, smiling at you. Still got his thumbs up with the golden light around it. It's still brighter than the sand we're seeing, because it comes from further up than that. And then you look at these trees, and they are tall jungle-like trees, right? Palm trees and fruit trees, but they're transparent. There's energy moving up and down in them. Non-nuclear hue. There are forms here. They are held in place by beings. We're moving with Satnam now up over the trees, and we were met by 24 of these birds with long V-shaped split wings. About a foot long like a blue jay, big blue eyes. Twin sets of bird wings like a dragonfly. And they're singing the hue, male and female. Little longer tails on the female. There's atmos hovering above this genetic form. They have vocal cords. They're singing to us. They're singing the hue on multiple levels, way beyond any overtones in music on earth. But they're connected. And the sound that's penetrating us is a great welcome. It's more than that. It goes through us. It does something. And they can speak to you. A couple of them, a couple for each of you, will fly up near your face and introduce themselves. This is easy. You know how to hear them. There is no language anywhere in creation you do not understand in this form here. And then they depart and go back into the trees, and we fly over the jungle. Satnam's in the distance, and you see a long snow-covered mountain range at a diagonal, carrying way as far as you can see, a palatial, crystalline, transparent form of buildings near the base of the mountain, and a fountain right below us. The fountain's coming out of a 100-foot in diameter white stone floor. It's 15 feet in diameter. It has scalloped edges. It has a statue of Satnam standing on a blue pedestal. Same as with his golden bracelets on his upper arms, bronze skin, gold eyes, and he's hovering beside the fountain, pointing to it. This isn't ego. This is a device. This is how I co-create with Satnam. This is for a purpose. This white golden light coming down through the top of the head of the statue is coming through the hands, his palms, that are face forward, held at his sides. There's a sound like a million men's and women's voices singing the hue on multiple levels until it's blended into one tone, pouring into this white golden light that looks like water, fills the bowl, drops around the scalloped edges, and disappears in the ground. Surrounding this fountain is a white marble seat with 12 intricately curved scrolled legs supporting it. He's pointing to it because Turelian is now moving us up through the top of the energy coming through the top of the head of the statue. And we all fit inside this very easily. Turelian in the middle, all of us surrounding him, including the men and women beside you, master teachers, Etta and Din, Ramu, Opelum, and many others. And we appear in the center of this shaft of light, in size comparison now, like a bottle cap to the size of a dinner plate. And then we're whisked upward. The next thing we know, we're moving into another reality, and in the distance you can see a huge circular floating landmass surrounded by an even brighter white diamond-like glowing beach, and around it is cobalt blue light, just brilliant. And the hue of the higher realities above here is supporting this. It's behind the blue light. You will not see planets or moons or suns or stars here. Everything here, including you, carries its own light. Trees, buildings, training facilities, which will be described so you can remember. This place didn't exist in the upper realities 10 years ago. It was built over that time in a place where there is no time, no space, no gravitational or physics limits whatsoever. It was put together by the contribution of beings who began to do things in a new way up here. You look out on the horizon from where we are, above these 6 snow-covered mountain peaks. They're in the center of this landmass. In the center between them is a blue-green luminous lake. And in the center of that, another white marble circular floor. Coming out of it is a blue glass-like transparent tower that goes up very high. 2/3 of the way up, there's an oval, transparent administration area with a fountain in it. There's no statue of Satnam here. And there's a white shaft of golden light coming down into it, filling it, which comes from this point that goes up to a minaret point above this oval administration area. It is centered in the landmass now. When you look down on the landmass and out into the horizon, you can see this luminous white sand beach circling the outer circumference. There are roadways that exit horseshoe-shaped tunnels at the base of the mountains, outside of them, that go straight as an arrow, like spokes of a bicycle, and end on the beach, encircling the entire landmass. Out the western roadway from the western mountain, the first right turn goes into a clearing. There's another turn that goes left into another clearing. The clearing on the right has a massive 4-sided golden-sided pyramid with a quartz crown. There's a botanical paradise around it. It's a teaching facility. The one on the left has a grain silo type ivory-colored building, and there are people, what can I put? They learn how to hold up a double-edged sword, which is called the Sword of Life. It comes from and is stationed in the source energy plane itself. And if you can hold that sword up, it becomes integrated in your being. It's the sword that keeps you aware and wise, using creative energy properly in all the planes. When I first held that sword and passed that test by Satnam himself, I was able to hold it up in a way no one else ever had. That's just what happened. I didn't understand it. It got moved down into my being, and since then I've been able to help other people do the same, which is the whole point of it. Because that experience has no purpose whatsoever unless it benefits others. It's pointless, completely. So we're going to go visit that sword room, and then we're going to go visit the pyramid, and I want to introduce you to Light C. Little short Asian master called the Faultless Guardian. He lives in a body and runs it in the etheric plane. He doesn't have bodies below there, and he volunteered, was the first one to volunteer to work as the custodian or teacher caretaker of that pyramid chamber. For now, we're going left, and as you turn to the left roadway, there's a clearing. Just this one tall, ivory-colored grain silo type building, cylinder with a curved top. There's a blue door, it's circular, opens and we enter it. Inside you see another blue disc about a foot thick and 3 concentric marble seats with master teachers sitting on it, some sitting, some standing. Each one of you are standing beside this platform, and Ramu and Opelam and Satnam are asking each of you to step up in a circle on this platform. So go ahead and do it. You're in a pure energy body. The Atma's hovering above it. The Atma's really hovering above the body, and the sword's above the Atma. It's gigantic. It's a couple stories high. It's golden-sided, got jewels in the handle. It's glowing with blue light. It's double-edged. We're supposed to be able to hold it still so that both sides represent energy that splits into a current in the lower worlds. And we're supposed to maintain them in balance through our being. And we serve as examples to others because the hue will flow through us more efficiently from now on. Wherever we go, it's going to be helping other people. You don't even have to know what it's doing. We do it by co-creative freedom. There's no negative nature here, folks. You can't bring any with you. This is pure co-creative energy. So you're standing there in a circle, each one of you. And you're asked to put your right index finger up in the air. And this sword, this weight, which is immeasurably heavy, ends on the tip of your finger and starts to squash down on you. And then I begin to send out the hue. So do the master teachers. And then you send it out and you find you can push this sword back up easily without effort. And then the hue moving through you moves the sword a foot above you, and you're able to hold it there in place. I know you're all able to do it. I can see it. And that sword starts to move down into the white core of your being, shrinking until it becomes merged with it. And then it moves down into the what you would call a spinal area of the pure form you're showing here, that is your perfect form of human that you show to each other. And it blends into the core and vanishes. So now each one of you has held the sword of life, the sword of prime creator, the sword of source, and become one with it in a place where you can do this. You find yourself out on the white roadway, entering a path leading into the right turn off this one roadway. You look down it to the beach, and there's turns and clearings right and left all the way down each one. You look over to the right, and these roadways are coming out of these mountains to the beach. Everywhere around it, there are teaching facilities all over this place. We walk into a white blue stone pathway of stones, and we come up to these blue glass doors. They open, and a little man comes out. Fu Manchu-type beard, little Asian man, about 36-ish. Looks more ancient than ancient, but he's young. He's got a little hat on, a little curved cylindrical hat, and a robe with little esoteric symbols on it. The Atma's hovering above him. He's 5'5". He's a short, frail little guy, but don't mess with this guy. He's powerful. He's known as the Faultless Guardian. And he asks if you would like to come in and see this facility. We say, yes, of course. He walks through the opening. Torellian and everybody fits through it. When we come inside, we're standing on a glowing, foot-thick quartz floor, golden. It's a massive pyramid, much bigger than the one in Egypt. There is a tree in the center of it. It's called the Tree of Life. It has silver needles. It is transparent. Energy is moving through it, up and down the trunk. The tip of it goes up miles. It's just huge. The roots go deep into this golden quartz floor. And there's energy running up and down it from the ocean of sound and light, many planes above here, where we originate. And this little man walks right through the tree leaves. The needles are glowing with a silver light. They're silver. And when you look in a needle as you pass it, you'll see a world shown in the needle, somewhere in the lower worlds of time and space. They're all connected here. We move into the trunk of this tree. Master Lightsea is our guide. Satnam's with him. And then we move up the energy in the trunk of the tree. When we come out the other end, we've moved through quite a number of dimensional levels in pure positive energy. There is no negative nature here. When we come out of the trunk of another tree, it's massively larger than the one we left. And we are in a plane called the Agam plane, or Agam Purusha. It's a name of a being whose massive spherical being runs the raw power of creation between the ocean of sound and light above here and the worlds below, even all the way down to the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, which we just left, where Lightsea is in the pyramid, and down through Satnam's realm below it, all the way through the void, down through the planes, back to Earth. It never stops moving. This being approaches us, which generally scare the hell out of you, because the energies around this plane are whirling like gargoyles and coming out of the ground and passing and disappearing in vapors around him. He holds in place the raw power of eternity and like a generator regulates it down through the planes. First thing I did when I met this being was asked if I could be his friend. I wasn't frightened of him. I figured this guy's got to be lonely. Nobody wants to befriend him. So I befriended him. And we've been friends ever since. You can do this if you're aware enough to do it. You can be friends with Satnam, Torellian. If you're aware enough to do it, respect yourself and them, they'll be happy to be your buddy. It's pretty simple stuff. So he's greeting us. The next step we make is up through that tree. When we come out the other end, we're moving towards an immensely vast area of space. The blue light here is more immense and bright than you can hardly stand it. The sound coming from the source of this source cannot be described in human terms. It's too melodically incredible, multidimensional. And we're moving through beings like us, more massive. And they form like the stars around the nucleus of a galaxy. And that's what this looks like in the distance as we pass between these beings. We come across white, sandy, circular center in a void in the center of this. And hovering above it is a massive Atma-like being, like on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book. And we land on the sand in front of it, both in the form that looks human as the Atma. We realize that we look just like this, only it's much bigger than us, twice as many layers of teardrops. And then it begins to speak to us. It isn't an individual being. It is a composite consciousness of all Atmas everywhere, including us. And it has a way of communicating and acknowledging or welcoming you home. This is known as the ocean of sound and light, source, prime creator. There are two higher dimensions beyond this. The realm of the silent mentors, which we'll visit on our way back to the Hue Expansionary Academy, and the Hue Expansionary plane above that. And that is an administration that's been brought into existence to manage this new way through the omnipresent power. It has to have a practical administration. We do not stay here long. They will share something personal with each one of you for your benefit. And then we're back hovering above the Hue Expansionary Academy, looking at the 6 snow-covered mountain peaks, the tower in the center, and then we're looking down from above at it and we can see it divided by roadways. You can see it looks like, if you look like a pizza, divided in half both ways, you have triangular quadrants, northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. The white roadway goes out to about 2/3 the way out to the coast in each of these quadrants and turns to the right to a clearing. And suddenly we are hovering around a 4-foot wide blue transparent crystalline sphere with a radiant blue star in it, a little white golden light coming down into it, hovering above another white marble floor. Surrounding it are 12 massive trees. They look like giant eucalyptus trees with glowing leaves. Standing above them are these human-looking forms, different skin colors, flawlessly perfect, different colored gowns to their bare feet, long hair to their shoulders. You can't see facial features because when you look into the white light that is their face, you see level upon level upon level of galaxies. They think like this. Hovering above these forms are 12 alternating male and female silent mentors. These are the mechanics of creation. They run the whole thing. They have never had an involvement with individual training of Atmas like us. That's more the realm of master teachers. But here in the Hue Expansionary Academy, between master teachers and them, we are hovering in the middle above this crystal sphere. There's energy passing between them right through us. This means that in this place, The silent mentors can interrelate with master teachers who care more about our welfare on some level. And it's passing through us because we can become prototypes, kind of a blend of a silent mentor's ability and a master teacher. It means they have unlimited power to move throughout the multidimensional universe, assume any form instantly, anywhere, on multiple levels, carry out a mission. They could be a bottle cap on your table and you wouldn't even know they were there. Here, things change. We find ourselves hovering around the fountain, down in Satnam's realm, right below here. Someday we'll go off into the palatial estate that is Satnam's by those mountains, that long snow-covered mountain range, and explore it. He has a screen down a long hallway. It's like an LCD screen. When you look into it, you can see what's tested here, which is the point. It's thrown into the lower worlds of time and space. It comes back for him to view it. If it comes back true, necessary, and kind, it is implemented in the upper worlds and then in the lower worlds. This is why it's important we become co-creators with the source. We have something to add to that process. And you find yourself wiggling your toes in the white glowing sand at the edge of the western roadway. There's a clearing on the right, another teaching facility, clearing on the left. We're not going to those now. We move out into this blue, luminous, cobalt blue, wondrous atmosphere. And we're hovering above the ocean. It appears like water. It is not. And a vortex opens and Lemriel starts sailing down through it. We revolve around him like beings going down a drain. The next thing we realize is we're standing in a circle around Lemriel, all of us outside of Earth's atmosphere. When you look at Earth, the polar ice caps disappear. And you see a planet that looks like Earth in the same place, with a live moon circling it, turning on its axis. There are dome cities there. Oceans, little oceans and lakes and atmosphere. It's turning on its axis as it orbits the planet. The Earth itself has a huge continent centered over the equator from the left to the right hemisphere. Another one 2/3 its size in the back of it. That's called Lemriel. That's Atla. This is an Earth that exists, that never flipped poles and never sank like it did in the one that you're familiar with 100,000 years ago. It is not overpopulated. The oceans glow here. There are Himalayan mountains in the center of that massive continent. And down near the South Pole, centered straight below the equator, is an upward curved, half-moon base-shaped, glowing green beach. And we want to go down there and find our feet wiggling in emerald glowing sand. There's a jungle behind us, and a path of moss cutting through several miles goes to a single dome city to the left of a single snow-capped mountain. There's a waterfall pouring out of a cavern opening 2/3 of the way towards the summit. It's cascading down a clear shift face. It is glowing with blue-green light. It's disappearing in a blue-green forest that surrounds the backside of this dome city. Above that tunnel where the water comes out is an oval man-made tunnel with domed lights receding down the mountain. Doorways were created from this higher parallel dimension of Earth through this mountain that comes out in the hollowed-out interior of the mountain called Mount Shasta in Northern California. A galactic alliance was built inside that mountain in 1908. If it hadn't been there, we'd all be dead. Now you understand, we will go on a journey sometime and follow a ship and see how it gets from one lower parallel dimension up into this one to do work between the two. Then out in the ocean, you're looking at this glowing green beach. The sand is glowing a foot above it. You pick it up in your right hand, and you just like Lemriel's reaching down. His feet are in this water offshore. It's like a blue-green glowing ocean, calm. He picks it up, and you look at these little round polished emerald glowing crystals. That's a gift from a race called the Xantronamus. They are on the other side of the Milky Way. We'll get into more details about that another trip. But those glowing particles go into your palm, up your head. You look up smiling, goes into the white core of the Atma you are, out to the green layer, which has to do with remembering all the lives you've lived in the lower planes of time and space. The Atma, that is. The ones that are most important will be channeled down into your physical consciousness on Earth. The ones that can help you advance most. The rest you don't need to look at. Your brain couldn't handle them anyway. The Atma you are can. It's all stored there. And then you find yourself hovering near the ceiling on your home. These two men and women from the Galactic Alliance hovering beside you, you're showing them the same kind of perfect form. You're an Atma. You're looking down at a white golden light passing through you, through the body, out into the electromagnetic field people call the aura. And then out into space, out into the atmosphere. Goes into 3 pyramids that are stationed on Earth now at the bottom of 2 of Earth's deepest oceans. They have a fountain in them. Classified people know they're there, but they can't do anything to them. Weapons don't work. Nothing can do anything with them. They're turned on. There's one inside a hollowed out interior in a mountain Himalayas. It's a triangle connection. This you we brought back goes through the planet, out in space, out to a bigger pyramid stationed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter. And then out to bigger pyramids that are starting to appear between stars. And then it goes into the galactic axis core, up the white golden light, back to the source, right where we came from. And it never stops moving. There are points on Earth I could take you to that connect a much higher volume of the hue right to you on Earth than anywhere else. Some of it's so powerful it'll make your teeth rattle in your head. These doorways can cause harm if nuclear bombs went off to beings in other realities. This cannot be tolerated, and it won't be. And you realize that this energy is passing through you for your benefit, but it's continuing through you for the benefit of others. This is natural and normal for us. We are Atma. We have never now, nor have we ever been a human or physical body, alien body, plant, or anything else. We run them, experience them, sense them, become one with them. We learn from them, but we're supposed to return this awareness from billions of years of exploration back to that source. So when you're ready, open your eyes. Now it's time to open your eyes and turn on your microphones. A long journey, but a good one, and I'll try to keep them down to an hour from now on, depending upon how many people and how new they are to it. We have to have a bridge of understanding. So that's what we've done on this journey for your benefit, for all of you. When you turn on your microphone, if you wish to, you don't have to, of course. I'm just asking you to turn on your mic. This would be a time for friends. We're comfortable with each other. We know each other. I recognize every one of you as if I knew you for millions of years. It's a very strange feeling. I know all of you very well. It's pretty amazing. I mean, for me. You guys have anything you want to ask? Any questions you'd like to explore, Anna?
I want to say something, Scott.
I'm waiting.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I want to say thank you to everybody to be here. Don't be hard on yourself, because this journey is a difficult journey, but very, very important for all of you. And I'm very happy that that it took place. And today, I've been doing this since 2007. It was very gradual. The journey of today, we were in many places, and that it took me since 2007, okay? And it was little by little. The journey today, it was very intensive, because we were in the sort of life we were in the tree of life. We were as well with Agam Perusha, the raw energy, with the loud sea. We were in the beach. It were so many things that I'm really happy for the opportunity of all of you, because it took really many years for me to be able to do all of this. So
I was, I was happy Anna was here too, because the way the energy is changing, the way you people in the US are starting to surface, the energy is much higher on the planet. And her presence helps make it possible as well to bridge you quickly into a greater understanding. This is the first time this has happened. I haven't guided English guided group journeys back in the States since I began this and stopped it 5 years ago. This is a whole new change in things. And all of you had the ability to co-create it, or it wouldn't have happened this way.
The silent ones, you were there, you were describing that they have tunics, they inside their faces are the universe, multiverse, with all of things. I have if Scott allows me, I have pictures that I've been collecting, because my background is an artist. It might help you, some pictures.
Show them. Yeah, show them. Go, why not?
I don't have it. I don't have it handy. I
Oh,
have it on my cell phone, but that will help them, because some images sometimes that I found, it were artists were just picking up things that Scott has been showing. So it's not it's real, and the fact that these journeys are able to be shared allows all of us to reincarnate, if we want, in a different way as has been happened until now, because it will be totally different. We will choose why, and why we're doing this, not just randomly, you know, with our memories suppressed. It changed the whole picture. So I just want to say thank you to Scott and to all of you to be here. Just try to listen again, and I'm happy to share the images I've been collecting for 7 years. So it might give you.
If they give you permission to their emails, and they're very visual, they probably search this stuff out and find great images on the internet. Why not? If they agree, you can share that with them, of course.
I'd love it.
Well, there you go.
I agree.
There she go ahead and do it. You know, just
I'll send. Yeah, I will send Scott, and then he can say, Anna, this is more tuned, this not so. And
okay.
then
Yeah, that would be better. Send them to me. I'll talk with you privately. We'll agree, and then I'll forward them to everybody. Okay? Guaranteed. Any questions, Owen?
No.
Pretty straightforward. Why would you have questions? You're smart. You know the stuff. Angela?
I don't think I have any questions. It was wonderful, and thank you so much for your service. You're a beautiful being. Thank you.
I'm looking at beautiful beings. I recognize you, and I'm thrilled. I don't know if Renata's still with us. Some people go to sleep, but they're there. They're on the journey. When they get the recording, they'll go back through it and go, oh my God. Well, the second time you play it back, believe me, everything we did will just fall into place. You'll be able to comprehend it somehow, by some miracle, in some way. This goes way beyond implants, engrams, or anything like that. This can only be done outside of Earth's atmosphere. It cannot at this time be done inside the planet's atmosphere by anyone. I don't even do it. I don't remove implants, but I can take you on journeys all the way back to source. I endeavor to get you out in the universe and beyond the void, and plug you back into pure positive energy, because there you bring no negative nature. There you begin to become a co-creator on the spot. And then that's not reversible. The hue you're plugging into becomes like a master teacher for you now. It starts to take you back home in a practical way while you're living out your life. You become masterful here too.
God, in the video, after the sword experience, Like I started, you probably will see me laughing in the recording, but it was just like I was joyous, after the experience, and I just started laughing with joy and stuff like that.
I couldn't be happier. I mean, that's what it's for. Yes. Thanks for sharing that. What I realized when I went through the experience of holding this sword up and doing what I did, I was helping to create the Hue Expansion Reacademy with other beings. For years, I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't tell anybody. Nobody was ready for it. The Galactic Alliance wasn't ready to help you guys at that point. What I realized was the only purpose, the only value there is in such experience only has any value if it benefits others. And I had a choice to make. I can choose to serve all life, drop all revenge, even for reptilians that captured me and killed me and stuffed me in a body when this body was 3. I was there at 3 as an adult male from another universe looking at the stars going, Earth, what am I doing on Earth? I knew I wasn't supposed to be here, not that way. That started me on a journey throughout this life that ended in what we're experiencing now. But I didn't do it alone. There are many great beings out there that I work with, that I respect. They know I love and respect them. And they love and respect me. They love and respect each one of you because of who you are. There's no getting around this one, folks. This is pretty incredible stuff. Because of who you are. And you created this journey this fast, this deep. Virgil, you did too. You know it, man.
I do.
It's
And I would say, having listened to you for 6 years, you compacted most everything that you've ever said into this one experience here. So for all of you, you can go over this. In my view, I can go over this time after time after time and glean something else that will help me become more expansive.
yeah, yeah.
This is a piece of art. I don't think it'll ever be duplicated again.
Somebody asked me, and I hoped I had an answer. They asked me, I think it was John of Light. Yeah, John, you said, Scott, is there anybody else who can do this, like a sidekick, someone I could train? And I said, unfortunately, no. There will be at some point, but I have to carry that responsibility for now. I'm able to guide people out beyond Earth, up through the planes, other worlds. I do it all the time. I go to source. Self and God realization. I want to level this. Well, you know what it is? Self and God realization. What is it? Self-realization is knowing what that is that you are, waking it up. God realization is knowing how to co-create with that, with the thing that looks like that, that's much huger, much bigger in the ocean of sound and light itself. And once you get self and God realized, it just goes deeper into perfection, deeper into greater potentials, deeper and more childlike wonder, creating with other beings to change the way the lower worlds of time and space are run permanently. Nobody knows what that will look like because we're in the process of doing that now. For the first time in several 100 billion years, everything's changing out there. Certainly amongst our friends from other worlds. Here's the thing you need to tell yourself. You are from the other worlds. You had more spectacular lives hundreds of thousands of years ago out there than you have on Earth now. When we go on secondary implant removal journeys, this becomes apparent to you. It's pretty interesting stuff.
So Scott, did we actually experience that removal, the secondary removal, or is this just a journey to kind of get us
Oh,
used?
no, for you, they were turned off so that you have the advantage of operating as a normal Atma like you should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Secondary implants, for some of you that have had that done here in this group, can share with all of you their experience about it. Marshall has. Yes, Marshall? Virgil?
Yeah.
Susan?
Yes.
Renata?
Mhm.
She's, I
Yeah,
think,
let me say that with the removal of the secondary implant and my primary implant has exploded. But what I'm learning is how to use the hue to be plugged into the power that keeps this thing under control, turned off, or
Exactly.
modulated.
Exactly.
The whole idea of getting rid of everything in this lifetime for me is that may be an illusion, but with discipline and attention, I think it will work. I will say to you that much of my life I've spent trying to remove. I've been doing this for 50 years now, and uh, I have to confess, what I wanted to do is get rid of all these negative influences so that I could be on automatic and experience lots of pleasure.
Yeah, well, that's great motivation.
and 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 avoid pain. And it just doesn't work like that. But I'll shut up with that.
Well, thanks, Virgil. I appreciate you sharing with this. All of you here, it's odd, but you have this wisdom to know things when you hear truth because it's in you already. I don't give that to you. It's just the hue from many masterful beings passing through you that brings this to the surface. Thing of it is, once it's surfaced, it cannot be suppressed again. The you passing through you now comes from the source itself. It is aware of you on earth. This cannot be reversed. This is a good thing.
You know, one of the things I like to say, Scott, is that in the past, what I've efforted to do was to correct my body or my mind or the emotions. But what I'm finding personally is that it is best for me to go into into the Atma and co-create and transmute and transform from there, because that is the controller of all of the body. It's
Yes,
a very interesting process.
that's
It
right.
is as Scott says, it's a top down and ground up, but it's really important in my view to get and remember who I am, and that is the being that is really, that's what has to wake up to make these other bodies work.
Right, exactly. Most people are trying to manifest something through positive thought or whatever from their physical personality and life upward. It will never work that way.
Sure doesn't.
Meaning the right person, couples, all that. People are married all over the planet to people that are not right necessarily. They may be in harmony, may have a good long life, but they are the other beings they knew a billion years ago in the upper worlds? Not necessarily. So people keep creating scenarios from subconscious fear that bring them into lives, and then when they pass away, there's still fear. And it drives them to reincarnate in a body, seeking a false security in bodies. That's reincarnation. And it's done through fear. When the fears drop, the reincarnation comes to an end.
Love that.
Permanently. Women on other planets, for instance, that have babies are grown to an adult in 6 months. They don't piddle around for 20 years raising someone. Women don't experience pain at childbirth. It's a whole different thing. It's a big advantage if the body on Earth you have with some genomes shut down that shouldn't be are turned on. Then men on Earth would experience things differently. We need to have this brought here because the life that knows how to do this stuff and are living it are out there. They're not on Earth yet. But we are. And here's the thing. We come from out there. Do we have the right to wake this up? Of course we do. Absolutely. We're going to need help from people that never got stuck and stuffed in bodies here. That's just common sense. So I work with them. Yes, Angela.
So today we had the what is it called? Turned off.
Yeah, implant. Yes.
The implants turned off. But in
Yeah.
the future, there's a possibility we could have one of them removed, one of the implants removed. So the
No,
secondary.
I will take you as a group if you want, those of you that have not had it, on a secondary implant removal journey. There's not too many people. We can
That'd be great.
we can spend a couple hours by my choice because it's concentrated. It's think about it. If I had to do one-on-one secondary implant removal journeys instead of group journeys like this, there wouldn't be enough time in 1,000 years for me to work with even 10,000 people here. The body would die before I could do it. It takes up too much time. So we do group journeys, and I want it to head in that direction because people will still get the same benefit, just like all of you are. But in this early stage, if I decide to guide some of you on a secondary implant removal journey, you will remember 3 lives you had out in the Galactic Alliance. 250, 500,000, a million years ago that were far more evolved genetically in every other way than you are on Earth. That's your life, and you have a right to know it because the wisdom and the intelligence is there in the Atma. When it surfaces and it's no longer subconscious, it filters down through the life you have on Earth. You become brighter and smarter with a higher IQ. It just happens. It'll happen from this journey. That's incredible for me. I'm highly motivated, very dedicated, because if I don't do it,
I've been wanting this for a really, really long time, so thank you so much for showing up in our lives
Oh, I'm
and having the
thanking,
ability to do
but
this.
I'm thanking you for showing up in mine because you're making it possible for this to generate in English in the States where it should have done years ago. But part of it was because I stopped promoting the books and doing all that. I spent years, as Anna knows, guiding people privately at no charge without putting it on the internet. And it didn't promote my books, it didn't promote the work, but it was necessary for about 10 people. And then I started working with Perry in Thailand. We started doing hotel journeys. Books were promoted. I had to publish all 4 books. The Parallel Time trilogy has 3 books. The Emerald Doorway, that has the Atma on the cover, goes back 100,000 years with galactic lines involvement in our solar system's history, comes to present time on Earth. Guardians of the Ancient One would be Source. Master teachers are guardians of it. Journey to the Center of the Universe is not a journey to the center of the physical universe, but it starts here. Those are about Galactic Alliance involvement, other worlds in the inhabitants were around Lemriel at the time before the poles flipped. There was an oceanic domed city at the bottom of the ocean between Atla, which was a colony continent 2/3 the size of Lemriel 100,000 years ago. And then the poles flipped. The Oceanians disintegrated their dome and left. They were just there to affect the evolution of the surface dwellers back then. And then most life was extinguished here. Continents rose up from the sea. The ones that were there disappeared. It takes place in 24 hours. Very violent affair. If you don't get off planet, you're dead. 5,000 foot high tidal waves going, 500 miles an hour around the planet. You ain't going to survive that. So this has been permanently stopped for this world, this beautiful Earth. The world's fine. The people are screwed up that live on it, big time. The world's great. Take all the people off of it. It's just dandy. Probably charge up with the U in a day. You know what I mean? People block it. So one of the things that's wrong with Earth is it does not charge properly. The oceans are depleted. Can I tell you? The worlds we go to out there, I'll take you to many more. I can take you to training facilities in the U expansion Academy that'll blow your mind. We've just touched the surface. The most important thing, and I did not see it coming. Until we were there, I didn't even know if I was going to take you in that building. But all the masters are with me. Everybody just went in there, and all of you held that sword. Every one of you. It's now part of you. It never happened this way before in galactic and interdimensional history. Nobody ever held that sword up. One person had to do it first, and then it spread through that person for others to do it. This is the true purpose for experience and phenomena. It has no other value, none whatsoever. On Earth, people have phenomena, get on a big ego trip and run around and say, look at me, I'm better than everybody else. I know better than that. I'm certainly not better than anyone else. But we are gods and goddesses clothed in rags. It's time the rags came off so we can glow and know what we're supposed to know. Finally. It's about damn time if you ask me.
Yes.
You know, way past damn time. I wonder why it takes them so long to set people free here. You got to understand, I can't set people free as one Atma. It takes friends from out of town, off world, in great numbers in order to begin that process. It just does. It can't be done any other way. Think about the preparation that it takes for 8 billion people to have a man and a woman helping them every night when they're out of their body in the dream state. Every one of you leave your body every night, but you're not trained from childhood to know how to bring it back. You grow up as an adult and you just don't do it because the faculties that are required are not turned on. That's all. We start bringing this stuff back, everything starts turning on sooner or later, preferably sooner. These faculties are yours. I don't give them to you. They're yours already. You always were.
Like when I read the series agenda back in 2015, like I wanted it to happen like that, you know,
Me
because
too.
because it's just like I experienced what you guys experienced, like drinking out of the fountain and stuff like that, and it's just I saw my primary implant, and soon as I was about to be eaten alive, I came out and stuff like that. Like I seen a pyramid where I live at, and so it was just like, you know, since then I've been like haunted and creating my life plans and stuff like that, you know, because I don't know, it just is a wonderful
Yeah,
experience.
I want to share something with you before this gets off track regarding the primary implant. Okay, you remember the electromagnetic field that surrounds the being, like the earth?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It surrounds your body. Implants are out there. The secondary implants are in a triangular pattern connected by a white beam. They look like foot-wide oval lights. They have lifetimes hidden behind them. The implant is diabolical torture, death, don't go here, don't remember, will kill you. They're not your experiences, they're artificial. The primary implant is a pyramid shape, four-sided, golden, quartz cap, something you think is lovely. You wouldn't want to get rid of if you found it. It sits above the north pole of the earth, and although it doesn't have one, and one pointing down below the south pole, but the Atma does. If that's removed while you're on earth, it would kill your body. They're diabolical little bastards. So the first thing we do, Virgil's been through it,
Yep.
we review what's in it so that it becomes a conscious memory, at least the worst part of it. Then you find you have volitional mastery or control over whether it turns off or not. A habit will make us want to continue to look into it to solve a mystery of evil. There is no solving the mystery of evil. It's perverted energy. There's no intelligence to it. It's a waste of time. So if we get hooked looking at it, we'll keep turning it on when we have the choice to simply not look at it anymore or sing a song. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-ay, my oh my, what a wonderful day, you know. And it just turns it off. Or you look at a hummingbird or waterfall. Sing out the hue. Go to my website. Go to the book thing. Pull on the link. Look at the thing that says about Scott Hugh. You'll find a recording of my voice in 3-part harmony in loop, sending out the hue in a continuous stream for 24 minutes. There's no charge. There's a third whole round tone running through it that Terrellian put in that. I didn't record it. If you listen, you'll hear it. So that's something you can go to if you get in trouble. Just go to it. It's free. Go to paralleltime.com and turn it on. Piece
How
of
about a ringer? How about a Hugh ringer?
Hugh Ringer? Yeah.
Yeah, every time the phone rings, Hugh.
Well, why not? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Listen, this came to me just recently. I was always just showing people myself with a picture of my cat. This cat, you guys would love this. This cat right here, his name is Starlight. He's a cat, okay? That guy was an Atma, telepathic, He was my buddy for 10 years. He passed away. I had the
Oh.
privilege of taking the Atma beyond the lower worlds, into past the void, into Satnam's realm. He will never have to incarnate as a human. He's bypassed all of that now. He's up there hanging up, having a ball. In the Atma plane, this guy can trade places with Atmas running zebras and giraffes and whales and dolphins and eagles and birds and experience what it is to be them, including other beings, which gives us the ability to respect and all life, which we have to do to be conscious co-creators with the source. So the Atma plane's the best place to stop off to do that.
Mm.
I share that with you, so it's heads up. Could have given it to you another time, but you might as well know it now.
Cool.
So, any other questions? Okay,
So-
yes, John?
Well, I have one here, Scott. So what is really good, it sounds like, is to continue re-listening to this and connecting with the hue.
And do yourself a favor and go on more journeys when you can. There'll
Mhm.
be other people joining here. They'll need your experience. It'll be automatic. You just be there and it'll just happen through you for them.
Mhm.
You're co-creators now, not in the future. It's always in the present moment. And it unfolds from there. We
Beautiful.
are still orbiting around the center of the ocean of sound and light, prime creator source. We never left. Atmas are multidimensional capable. They can run bodies, they can forget, they can get lost in them, and then sooner or later, they have to return to where they came from. We're meant to do it. I hope that helps. I will send you the recording to all of you so that you can have it and download it. You go to my Dropbox account, download it to your own computer, then play it back. Don't try to play it at Dropbox, too big. It'll break up or act like it's only a third of it there or something. Download it first to your own computer, okay?
Mhm.
And then take a couple days off, go have some lunch, kiss a cat, jump up and down, have some fun. Then turn off your phone and go back on the journey with a cup of tea, kick back in a chair and take some notes and have some fun, and you're going to see some stuff that you did. You actually experienced. You were part of it. That sword is not going to leave you, ever. I didn't see that coming. And Anna was right. Things have advanced. I mean, it's because of who you are. No wonder it took 5 years for you to come forward, or
Mhm.
more. It's perfectly okay. It's great. It's fun. I'm having a blast just seeing all of you again. I couldn't be happier. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. Now I'll shut the recording